Hello, I'm your host, Anthonius. Welcome to the fifth interview on Musician's Corner. I have Mr. Willem James Cowan coming all the way from London, Ontario. Here we are. Let's answer some questions. We've got 10 questions down. Let's answer them. Here we go.
Cool.
So, number one, can you describe the style or genre of music you play? Are there any specific artists or bands that influence your sound?
Yeah, it's like wordy folk rock. I got pretty inspired by like kind of 2010s folk and stuff when I was in high school. So a lot of that, like Iron and Wine and Dan Mangan and like Elliott Smith from like 90s stuff. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, Sufjan. Yeah, a lot of like contemporary singer-songwriters who were kind of like genre blending in the aughts.
Yeah, would you say you're just folk? Because I know, what was it Apartment? I get I get folk, but I also get a lot like country because you have like the steel guitar in there. Like, what would you say?
Yeah, I think there's a country edge. I've been labeled as country a couple times, which I don't fully get, but I mean I like a lot of country, so I'm definitely inspired by that stuff. And yeah, I think there's different elements of different things, but the singer-songwriter type stuff tends to lean folk oriented, so I generally lead with that.
Okay. Number two, how do you go about writing songs? This one's a big one. Everyone loves this one.
It's different every time, but I generally I write mostly on guitar, and I don't find that I am able to write well. Like, I don't start writing by, like, some stroke of inspiration. I feel like I have to sit down and start. Songwriting, like, I think any other skill you have to work at and practice. So, I try to write often, and, yeah, it starts with some guitar chords or a riff or something, and then I'll just sing like nonsense words until I find a melody, and then fill in the space. Yeah. I don't like I have to write the words there.
Exactly.
It's hard for me to like write filler words and then come back and fix them, which I do think I do, but if I can't think of a line or something, I'll just stop and come back to it. It ends up being pretty linear.
Okay. Yeah. I know a lot of people, they have like when they start on a song, they get this block, and it takes them. Sometimes it takes them weeks. Sometimes it takes them months to get back to it. Do you ever get that problem?
Yeah. Yeah. There's definitely songs that have taken quite a while to write. Something like Apartment took me like a couple days in total, I think, or like a couple hours of each day in total. Yeah. So really not long. It was fast. But there's definitely been songs that have taken quite a while. The concept of writer's block has always been funny to me. I don't fully believe that like writer's block exists in the way that people think it does. It is like, it kind of just feels like it's like statistics to me, like, or like odds. Like, if you're gonna sit down and write, any artist, if they're gonna sit down and write 100 songs in a year, let's say, like 50 of those are gonna be worthy of finishing, and like 20 are gonna be good enough to play in front of people, and then like 10 will make a record. So like 10 out of 100 songs actually end up being good. I mean, that's a kind of a nonsense example, but 10 out of 100 end up being good, and then the other 90 probably never see the light of day.
Oh yeah, they stay on the cutting room floor.
Yeah, most of which are like half songs, and sometimes you get like a lot of those 10 in a row, and it feels like you're on a roll, and sometimes you get like a lot of those 90 in a row, and it feels like you're like in a moment of writer's block. But I think it's just odds, Yeah, sometimes it comes evenly, and it feels like more natural, I guess.
Exactly. Yeah, like when you're no, something's it's like a flow state. Kind of, you
Yeah.
kind of just get into it, and then sometimes you just don't have it. It's just, and that's fine. That's okay.
Yeah.
So 3, how do you engage with your audience and build a fan base? Are there any strategies you found effective in promoting your music? This one is big because a lot of people are, going to Reels, going to TikTok, and they're doing trends. How do you get into that?
Oh God, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, like everybody's got to do the social media thing now. I definitely find it harder than some people maybe. I mean, I it's like a full-time job, man. Like there's a lot of aspects of being like an independent artist that are kind of full-time job-esque, and if you're not putting in full-time hours, then you're probably not doing enough. But I mean, I try to engage with people like at shows and stuff in person as much as possible. I started an email list, which I forget about for like 3 months at a time, and then pick it up again for a couple weeks. Yeah, I don't know. I think like just being authentic on the internet is better than being inauthentic and like following trends and
Yeah.
being consistent. But consistency is a really important part of it, it seems. So yeah, I don't know, just like engaging with people organically and authentically. I hope ends up working or is working. I don't think that I really have any strategies. Like I like plan all my posts.
Yeah.
Like
Way in advance.
yeah, like plug them into a calendar and stuff. So that's been helpful for me for like engaging with social media and stuff because it doesn't. I get to like think about it really heavily for a few hours and then not think about it for a few weeks.
It's gonna load off your mind.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. Nothing in particular. I probably am not like the shining example of fan engagement, but I try my
hard.
best.
It's hard. Would you say it's easier now to like promote your stuff, or would you say because I don't know. I guess it's kind of easier now, but then like it's more like like way more people promoting all their stuff. Would you say it's easier now? Would you say it was easier like back like 10 years ago, 20 years ago?
I mean, it's hard for me to say personally.
Yeah,
I definitely wasn't promoting stuff 10 years ago, but yeah, I mean, there's like it's I think it's bittersweet kind of. Like there is a lot more opportunity now, but there's definitely more the airwaves are more crowded than ever. You know, everybody can do it themselves, which is awesome, and it's great to not be bogged down by like labels and really expensive studio time and stuff. But that also with that comes the fact that you end up having to do it all yourself. You know, back in the day when when it was more common to have a team behind you, you didn't have to worry about any of the promotion and marketing and stuff. So I think it's easier in theory. It's definitely more accessible, but there are only so many hours in the day, and a lot of independent artists have other jobs that take up a lot of those hours.
Do you have another job besides music making?
Oh yeah, I do. I work on the computer. I do, admin work.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's kind of it's like you can it's more flexible a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's full-time. I work from home most of the time,
Okay.
which is nice. But, yeah, it definitely, I mean, it's still time-consuming, and, yeah.
Any job.
Yeah.
It's hard. It's hard when you're trying to, like, make music, be a musician, and then you have your other responsibilities right there. Okay, let's do number 4. When and where was your first performance? How did you feel before and after?
My first performance as a solo artist, like for this project, was... I don't even fully remember. Okay, I mean, I've been a musician since I was like 10 or something. I was in bands. So I think my first performance ever was at like this bar in London. And I was, maybe 9 or 10. Super nervous. We played a cover of Joker and the Thief by Wolf Mother. And I think maybe a Red Hot Chili Pepper song or something. Um, yeah, super nervous. I don't remember how I felt after. Probably just like deer in the headlights.
Yeah. Since you're 10 years old.
Yeah, I was I was just the singer singing classic rock covers. I'm trying to remember what my first performance for this project was. I want to say there was this spot in London called EVAC, which was like a co-op in the East End, kind of owned and operated by artists. It was a really cool space. And there's sort of like there's contemporaries and stuff popping up around the city now, but when I was in high school, that was like a big DIY venue that people played at, and I opened for an artist named Micah Ehrenberg there, who now goes by Secret Beach. He's doing well, Canadian songwriter, and that was definitely one of the first shows played as a solo artist. But I think I played a couple before then, just by myself, probably like around at like open mics and stuff, and yeah. Yeah, and that was 2016, I think. I put my first EP out in 2018, so yeah, probably like 2016, 17.
Nice.
Yeah.
What would you say is like your favorite like not like venue you've played?
Venue I've played. I really like the Cameron in Toronto. I'm playing there again in June. I feel like the venues I really like tend to be the like smaller, more intimate.
Yeah, it's easier to like see everyone talking.
Yeah, I mean I like the alternative space thing. I like there are things I really like about playing with the band, but there's also things I really like about playing alone, where I feel like I connect with people a little bit better, and playing like more intimate, kind of like strange, not traditional venue spaces is really nice, and I think people tend to enjoy that a little bit more. You're not going and spending like $12 on a beer at a bar, and so those spaces I tend to enjoy more. I think there was a couple spots in London and a couple in Toronto that I can't even remember the name of now, but yeah, there's good bars all over the place. There's a spot in London called Poachers now, which I play pretty often, which is there's stuff coming up, but I don't know if I have a specific venue.
I mean, they're all pretty good, honestly. Let's see, number 5. What are your top 5 artists / bands?
Damn. I'm a big Shins fan. They were like a big... James Mercer from the Shins is one of my favorite songwriters. So them, I was big into Neutral Milk Hotel growing up, and I do think they like kind of hold a special place in my heart. Only a couple records, but he as well was just like an incredible mind.
Oh yeah.
I mean, like Joni Mitchell, Elliott Smith, Sufjan, like lots of James Taylor, Radiohead. That's more than 5, but like a lot of like contemporary. Oh, David Bazan from Pedro the Lion.
Okay.
And Of Montreal, Kevin Barnes from Of Montreal. Yeah, a lot of. I mean, I tend towards songwriters and stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a lot of stuff I like that's outside of that, but that's the stuff that I get the most inspiration from, and that's the type of music that I feel like I connect to the most. So, yeah, a lot of that like folk, alt country, singer songwriters and stuff.
Anything that tells a story, honestly.
Yeah, meh.
Those are very, very good artists. I love them.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Like, let's see. Number 6. What are your go-to spots for food in Toronto?
Oh, right. I picked this one. My go-to spot, I was living in Toronto for a while, but I moved back to London a couple years ago. My go-to spot was Future Bistro in the Annex.
Future Bistro?
Yeah.
I love Future Bistro.
They're great. Great brunch.
Oh,
I had many a hungover brunch at Future Bistro. There's a place in like just east of downtown called Champson. It's like a shawarma spot, Champson or Champson. I used to go there all the time when I was working in like the Post Audio. I think they call it Post Alley. There's a bunch of post houses down there. And let me try to think of one more. No, that's all I got.
Future Bistro is freaking. I freaking love Future Bistro. Their brunch, their breakfast, their eggs, their. I think, what do I usually get there? I usually get their breakfast, like their full breakfast, like with the pancakes and everything.
Yeah.
And then if it's like later on, I get like a schnitzel or something, and then like the pierogies.
Yes.
And on Wednesdays, was it 5 to 9? For $16, they have all you can eat pierogies.
Yep.
Have you ever done that?
I don't know if I've done the pierogi thing. I eat mostly vegetarian, and there's this sandwich that they do that's like, it's like roasted eggplant and tomatoes and stuff. I used to get that all the time, and goat cheese. I've had the pierogies there, but I don't think I ever went to the all you can eat.
I think it's on Wednesdays, so it's kind of like
Yeah.
right there. So it's like only a select, a few people will go. Now this is not on the. This is just because I kind of thought of it. How many pierogies do you think you'd be able to eat? Like, say you didn't have breakfast, you didn't have dinner, you're starving. You're
okay. I mean, at that point, my stomach has like shrunk, right? I feel like if I'm having a regular pierogi dinner, I can probably eat like 8. So I'm gonna say like 20. If I was really hungry, I think I could eat 20.
That's like good because it's mostly just potatoes and cheese.
Yeah, potatoes fill you up fast.
Oh yeah, it's all carbs. Yeah, I feel like 20 is like the perfect number.
It's reasonable.
Like right before you like kind of you start tipping over into getting feel disgusting.
Yeah,
I feel that's pretty good. 7. Were you ever in a band before your current band or before your solo artistry?
Yeah, a few. Yeah, I was in like a kid classic rock cover band. We like moved beyond that a little bit, but that was from like grade 5 to grade 10. So 5 or 6 years, and it was, you just like play the weird circuit like festivals in town and community centers and stuff. So did that for a while, and I was in a couple other acts. I played a bunch for a couple different friends in high school, and there was a pretty big folk punk scene in London for a little bit when I was like 16 to 18. So I played in my friend's folk punk band for a while. I played in a indie funk pop project called Water Baby in college, and I had like a post rock, psych rock, post rock band in college called Pencil Diver.
That's a good name.
Thanks.
That's a cool name.
Yeah, a couple other things. I've played for people, like played guitar with people or played bass for people. But I think that is the extent of the bands that I've been in. At least the bands that actually like got out of the basement and played shows and stuff.
Out of the garage.
Yeah.
Pretty good. Number 8. What's the most memorable gig you've ever played and why?
I played. One of the most memorable gigs I played as myself was the day I put my full-length record out in 2022. I played. I think it was the Cameron. It was the back room at the Cameron House in Toronto. And it wasn't for my album release. It was for another Toronto songwriter's album release. We just happened to release our records on the same day. But that show was it's the only time I've ever played at a bar where, and I mean, this isn't abnormal at the Cameron because it's a lot of music fans that go there, but definitely in the back room it's less common. But people just like sat and listened, like really actually listened. And it was like the rest of the lineup was pretty like band heavy. They were like pop rock bands, and I just like sat on a chair and played some songs. And I think maybe because it was kind of, abnormal for the lineup. It like caught people, and they stood and listened to the songs, which was really nice. So that was a great gig. And I've played a lot of stuff that I've really enjoyed since I've been back in London. There's a upcoming, like, pretty heavily thriving community in London, at least since I got back. There's been people I know putting on like little DIY festivals and stuff that have been really exciting. I played a show with another band. I played in a band called Day Trip as well, actually, when I was in college, which was like two of my friends' project. And we played like at a music hall in London, like the Big Room in London for a holiday show.
Yeah.
And that was really fun because I wasn't terribly nervous because it wasn't my music. I was able to like relax a little bit and just like, play guitar and stare at my pedals, and it was a huge room and there were a lot of people there. It was really fun. Those were the most memorable shows in a good way. I've definitely played some not particularly good shows that were memorable. We played I've told this story so many times to different people, but we played when I was in the band that I was in when I was like very young. We were probably 14 or 15 when we played this girl's sweet 16 birthday party, and her dad, they must have had money to throw around because her dad rented out like a field for her sweet 16, and like it was kind of treating it like a festival. He brought in like food trucks, and he invited a couple bands to play, and he brought in one of those like trailer stages that like fold out and become stages. And we got there like a couple hours before it started or whatever, so there was nobody there. But they had like school buses going to pick up people, and a bunch of different food trucks. It was a huge field, and then by the time we went on, there was still like no one there. It was a giant field, and the school bus went to go pick up people in neighboring towns because it was just outside of London, and it came back and nobody showed up. Like it came back with no one. So she had some friends there. There were probably like 15 people there, but which would have been totally. It's a birthday party. Yeah. Like 15's enough people. If you rented out like a small little party room, it would have felt packed.
Yeah, exactly. But that you're in a field.
Yeah, because it was treated like a show, and you were in a giant field. It felt like nothing, and we just felt really bad the whole time. And we played our set. We played the 16 theme song, like the cartoon.
Oh yeah.
Which we thought was really funny, but none of them did.
Whatever.
But yeah, that was
it wasn't for them.
That was yeah, exactly. It was definitely memorable, but it was yeah, that comes back to me every now and then, and I just like
a little shiver
clam up. Yeah.
Oh my god. Okay. 9. Can you describe a memorable encounter with a fan that left an impression on you? There you go.
Wow, I should have thought about these more because I don't have anything. Let's see. Yeah. I mean, when I was in college, I went to school for music, kind of. And I remember the first time I was playing a song at like a show or something, and people were singing along. That was the first. That was the first time that happened, and that left an impression because it really did feel like, oh, I can write songs that people actually enjoy. Yeah, and like clearly there's some sort of hook that people are catching to. So yeah, and I like honestly, anytime people come from out of town or something to see a show, I played a little festival in London in January, and there were a couple people there who came from out of town who just like found me on Instagram or whatever, and that's always really, like very nice. It's humbling. Yeah, then like there's been a couple of those. Just honestly, when people come up and chat, I like to chat about music and gear and stuff. So yeah.
Yeah. Good time, especially when they know your songs. That's like kind of an amazing feeling. Number 10. What's the most valuable lesson you've learned from a past mistake or setback in your musical journey?
I think I'm constantly learning things. I mean, you kind of have to be to make this work. I put that record out in 2022, and I was living in Toronto, working constantly, didn't have enough money. So I did everything, or I did most things by myself without like really researching it and kind of just like hoping something would catch. And I learned a lot through that process, and that's definitely helped me moving forward to like current releases and stuff. Yeah, like just how to plan posts on social media, and who to hire and when, and what you can do yourself, because there are things that it's definitely better to like hire someone for, or hire a company for, that is that can be really beneficial, and there are things that if you just put the work in, you can just totally do yourself, and you don't need to spend the money. So yeah, like a lot of that stuff, how to release something, and I still don't really know, but getting closer. With every release I learn a couple things, and that's there's a lot riding on that nowadays. You hope that your song is gonna catch the algorithm or whatever, and bring a bunch of people to your Spotify profile to listen. So every step is something, but there's always something to learn.
That's true. I mean, you have two. You have two recent singles right now. It's Jam Jar and Apartment, right?
Yeah.
You've been doing lots of work on Jam Jar. I do like the song a lot. It's that one, Jam Jar, Apartment, and Anything. Anything.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Actually caught my eye. I was like, I don't know, because it's like just a simple bass line, and then the bass drum, and then you like just kind of go into it. You're like, once again. I'm like, so there's something there's magical here. There's something magical. I kind of like that.
That song was a collaborative release between my friend Imogen and Ross and I. Yeah. That's we wrote that together last year, and it was like a little riff that I brought, and I had like some of the verse, and then she did the chorus, and we kind of dealt with made it work together. I don't do a ton of co-writing. But that was a fun experience.
Yeah. And then you have your album. Was it Morning in the Morning Time as well? How long did it take you to like get the songs down and just kind of push it out there?
The album?
Yeah.
That was like a lot of those songs I started writing when I was still in school. And I would say like half of them were, probably more than half of them, were just songs that I had like been playing with the band for years and years, so it was really for most of them it was really easy to just go into the studio and put them down. We recorded most of the stuff like in a room as a band, and I think it took about a year from those first bed sessions. So yeah, like I guess about a year of like when I had the time in my Toronto apartment, like tracking a couple guitar parts and then going back on mixes and stuff. But a lot of those songs had been written for like years before that, so
It's been there, and you're like, yeah, this is good enough.
Yeah,
it's good for the album. I'll put it in.
Yeah, like I had a couple EPs before that, but for whatever reason, that specific set of songs I knew it would be like a bigger thing at some point. Yeah. So like the next record is going to be less band oriented, I think. Okay. But it really made sense for that set of songs because we had just like refined them over so many years playing them live. Yeah.
And then one last thing, Fan Shop 106.9 The X. I know you did a few like acoustic sessions on there. How'd you get that?
I went to Fanshawe, so
There you go.
Yeah, they
Self-explanatory.
put those acoustic. I think I did one. I think I did two. Those are the broadcast program works with the music program there, and they like host artists on their acoustic thing. Yeah, I know. Like when you look my name up on YouTube, that's still one of the first things that comes up. And it's awful because it's like almost 10 years old now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's like what, 6 years old now?
25 now. So, well, 2016 was when I started school. So the first one was probably 2017. So like 8 years old.
8 years old.
Yeah.
It's getting up there.
Yeah.
And it's still one of like the first things.
Yeah,
like,
man, I don't know.
It goes Jam Jar, Apartment, and then it's like Fanshawe College.
One of those live sessions. Yeah.
like I think the live sessions are like a whole bunch of other stuff. I mean, you've been doing this since you're 10, so it's kind of like.
Yeah, in different different facets and stuff for sure.
Because then you have like the weather.
Yeah.
There as well.
That was a school thing too, actually. There's definitely some stuff up there from a long time ago if you do your digging, but hopefully some more recent stuff catches traction and those things
just kind of keep going down.
Get pushed further and further down. Yeah.
Just stop digging. Stop digging. Just look what I have now.
Yeah.
All right. That's all we have time for today. I'm gonna thank Mr. Cowan here for joining us all the way in Markham at the Musicians Corner HQ. Is there any thing you wanna tell
Wait, when is this coming out?
It's coming out in the next month.
In the next month. Okay. Well, then I probably have just finished the tour I'm going on. I'm playing North by Northeast on June 13th in Toronto at the Cameron. If it comes out soon, I'm doing like a little 401 tour in the next couple weeks.
Very cool.
Yeah, and then, I've got another song coming out hopefully in the next couple months, so keep an eye.
Again, thank you very much coming all the way from London. That's quite a drive. That's it. All right. Goodbye.